Now, we have another and actually the last highlight of this event, and it's a digital one, I promise you. It's time to explore the intersection of Web3 and gender diversity in the metaverse. So please welcome our final keynote speaker, Akbar Hamid. He's founder of Fifth Column and should appear on the screen, hopefully in a second. And Akbar is going to guide us through a thought-provoking study on how the metaverse can transform and redefine gender and diversity. So let's open our minds to that topic.
The lines between the virtual world and the real world are disappearing. 81% of Gen Z are actively engaged in gaming. But until now, when people tried to show their true selves, this was their only option. To date, 469 anti-LGBTQIA+ bills have been introduced in the US. In a digital world meant for self-expression, folks of all different races, ethnicities, genders, abilities, and identities simply couldn't be who they are. NYX Professional Makeup makes tools for unstoppable self-expression. We stand for accessible makeup for all skin tones, all genders, all sexual orientations, and all walks of life. Inclusivity and representation matter. And we believe our community should be empowered to paint their own story in their real lives and in the games that they play. We partnered with people of Crypto Lab to launch a diverse collection of custom, unique avatars for the sandbox. We made 8,430 avatars representing 84.3% of the global population. We hosted the first ever Meta Pride and invited everyone. NYX Professional Makeup became the very first beauty brand in the Sandbox metaverse. We intentionally designed a gaming experience that breaks the norms of everything the metaverse had done before and helped create a future where everyone feels seen and heard. To make the metaverse meta-diverse. Our mission is proud artistry for all. Our goal is to reach as many people as possible, which we did with 100% sell-through and all of our proceeds donated to the LA LGBT Center. Because the bright side is always the right side.
Hey Akbar, it's great to have you here.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much. I wish I could have been there in person, but I'm so happy I can join you all virtually, kind of in this metaverse-esque moment, because Zoom is kind of a metaverse.
Yeah, it's great to have you virtually here, and you also sent us this great video as an introduction, but I think you have to tell us a bit about it. What did we just see?
Yeah, of course. So what you just saw was one of the first ever virtual safe spaces created in a gaming ecosystem. And just to kind of backtrack and bring the connection back to BCG, BCG actually, Joel Hazan and Jessica Apotheker actually came across my company, the second company, POC Lab, and we build diverse experiences in virtual worlds. And we launched in 2022, which was a very contentious year. June 2022 was actually the height of anti-LGBTQ legislation in the United States. In Florida, you could no longer say gay. Trans people had no rights. Teachers were getting fired for protecting their students. So it was a very dark time at a time when we're celebrating Pride, which was meant to be fun. So we got connected with BCG and they saw the work we were doing in the LGBTQIA space. And separately, we also connected with them and worked on an amazing report on the inequities of women in tech and innovation. And that's a whole other conversation. So I really want to focus on LGBTQIA and especially the conversation today. So if you want, you can jump into the world's first metaverse Pride and why it's important and relevant.
Yeah, so can you tell us a bit more about the Pride, maybe?
Yes. So I want to start with why it's important and then get into the thesis of what it was the catalyst for and what it actually was. Because you saw all these incredible visuals and I want to explain how they were so impactful, not just in people's personal lives, but also in their professional lives. So I want to start with kind of the personal journey, because I think my personal journey and professional journey are probably really going to resonate, hopefully, with the LGBTQIA community here present and listening. So I grew up in Pakistan, not really the most LGBTQ friendly environment. And when I was young, I used to play this game called Hidden Valley, which was this imaginary game kind of where we would close our eyes and we'd go to this Willy Wonka type world, right? Everything's beautiful and colorful and you have all these like fabulous things happening and you feel safe and you feel seen and excited and happy and joyful. But as I grew up, and the first time I realized I was gay was when I saw Ricky Martin live in La Vida Loca. So I don't know if any of you can relate to that. And so as I grew up and had these joyful moments of realizing my queer identity, I also realized I had to hide it. So my Hidden Valley fun, joyful game became this really dark hidden valley of shame and fear and guilt and embarrassment that I carried into my personal and professional life. I had no safe space at home because of the environment and culture I came from, and I had no safe space in the workplace. And you know, our coming out journeys as queer people, we've heard so many incredible people speak before me. They are not just one coming out journey. We have to have multiple coming out journeys at home, with friends, with family. So you know, I always had to hide this joy, and this joy was never allowed to be expressed in any environment. And it was really only when I turned 34 that I mustered up the courage to come out to my family, was I really started to be able to feel safe and build up the courage to come out in other places. But nobody should have to wait this 30 plus years to feel safe. So this is why creating environments like Metaverse Pride and virtual environments are really important. And I want to tell you the thesis of this program and really what it was all about. So we created this virtual safe space in partnership with NYX Cosmetics and L'Oreal, a really great example of how a corporate partner can really stand for their message and not just uplift their employees and teams, but people around the world, and how a global brand can really put this message forward. And it was there were 3 or 4 really big takeaways and things that we achieved. So we created the first ever